One of the very first so-called troubadour poets is William the Ninth, and the number, especially rendered in Roman numeral form, gives it away. He was a member of the nobility. He was a royal. He was the Duke of Aquitaine, the area in southern France, where the troubadours really found their strength, drawing some inspiration from the Muslim traditions of Spain under Moorish rule, a sense of song, a sense of a certain religious sense in a way, and bringing it all together in that wonderful, warm southern French way, the land of Provençal. William the Ninth, as a poet, has a lot of the interesting characteristics that come with the time. He's writing in the vernacular. He's not writing in Latin, which is very significant. He's writing in what is, well, it wasn't even really French. It was the Occitan dialect, if you will. It was the language of southern France. And while doing this, he's relatively productive as a poet. We have a couple, like 10 or so, I think, lyrics all together, all relatively short-ish, examples of his work. Even if you do not read or speak that language, the Provençal dialect, you can view it as a remarkable exercise in poetry, because of what is very obvious on the page: a very vigorous rhyme and meter. It's very strict, very exact, and it shows a real sense of skill or craftsmanship in being able to formulate these lines. The actual poetry, when you get into it, is rather playful. And within those tight constraints, it's sort of it has a great liveliness to it, because you can see he's being rather insouciant at times and throwing off lines here and there that seem so casual, but at the same time are operating within this very rigid structure. And you think about his life also, as a royal. His life is about a very rigid structure. The expectations on him were fairly set, and he needed to find an identity, an expression for his life within that very rigid structure. So you can see poetry as being kind of an outlet for that, as a mirror of his entire identity, if you will. One of the most significant pieces we have of him, one of the most fun, quite frankly, and one that is very similar to a lot of the other work that we have of him, is called I'll Make a Verse of Nothing at All, which is a very interesting title, quite frankly, and it shows a playfulness that could be, depending on your interpretation, could be a mask for many other more problematic concerns. I'll make a verse of nothing at all. It won't be about me or anyone else. It won't be about love or about youthful joys or about anything else. In fact, I wrote it while I was dozing on the back of my horse. I don't know exactly when I was born. I'm not happy-go-lucky or quick to anger. I'm not a stranger and not a close friend, and I can't be any other way, because I was bewitched one dark night on a lonely hilltop. I don't know when I go to sleep or when I wake up unless someone tells me about it. My heart's not broken, not a bit, by some sharp, sad sorrow, and I don't give a damn for that, by St. Martial. I'm sick and I'm afraid to die. and I only know what I've heard said about it. I've got to find a doctor, one who understands me, but I don't know such a one. He'll be a good doctor if he can cure me of this, but if I get any worse, there's no hope. I have a lovely girl, but I don't know who she is, because I've never seen her. I swear it's true. She never does what pleases me, she never gives me peace, and I don't care, because I never had a Norman or a Frenchman in my house. I've never seen her, and I never love her, and I love her with all my heart. And she never treats me right, and she never treats me wrong. I'm just as happy if I never see her again. I don't give a damn. Because I know the girl even more because I know a girl even more lovely and pretty. She's worth 10 of the other one. I've made the verse, I don't know what it's about, but I'll send it on to that one who will in turn send it to someone else over there out by Anjou, and maybe he'll send it back to me out of his private packet, the secret clue. Curious, somewhat inscrutable, perhaps, somewhat almost. It's sort of a distant precursor of Lewis Carroll, the Jabberwocky nonsense poems that just sort of blather on, and there's not a you want to shake him and say, what are you getting at? Are you just babbling? But in there, I think there's an awful lot going on that's not so apparent to the immediate eye. For one thing, he seems to be referencing an awful lot about conventions of poetry. I don't know exactly when I was born. I'm not happy-go-lucky or quick to anger. I was bewitched one night on a lonely hilltop. He seems to be tossing off these little tropes of literature that seem like kind of phony and fake to him. I'm sick and I'm afraid to die. He's not perishing necessarily. He's just, he's reacting in a very real human way instead of an artificial way. I have a lovely girl, but I don't know who she is. Well, that's kind of subverting the whole notion of love. I have a lovely girl. Yeah, I don't really know who she is. It's not that big of a deal to him. The whole power of the medieval courtly tradition is sort of mocked almost. My heart's not broken, not a bit, by some sharp, sad sorrow. Like, yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah, love, schmub, it's okay. The religion of love that you find in so much of the medieval literature, medieval culture, is almost something that he just sort of insouciant about. Just sure, whatever. It's a he is inviting us to not take it so seriously. But in so doing so, is this a false front? Is he just pretending to not take these things seriously? Are all these things he's citing actually something he takes very seriously, but he's just pretending not to? Which, whether or not it's true, invites the speculation that, well, he is recognizing that there is something very different about the exterior that he is showing the world and the interior truth that he is protecting. There is a sense of that pure ornament going on around him, a kind of aestheticism where this is all very pretty and bright and sparkly, but it's not necessarily giving any access to what is an inner truth. Anything more sincere is kept hidden. There is a kind of false materialism at play here, where the visible is irrelevant, inconsequential, necessarily even a lie. There is a sense of the hidden meaning within. On a political level as well, when he talks about, I have never had a Norman or a Frenchman in my house, or where he's going to send this poem perhaps to someone else over in Anjou, and he'll send it back to me out of his private pack. There's this sense of this inner world working, where it's a coterie to which the general public has no access, and that is court life after all. He is giving expression to his place in the world, one that is all about, in many respects, a kind of superficiality, a kind of ceremonial aesthetic, a kind of performance that has very little to do with what he might be thinking at any one time or feeling at any one time. There is that plasticity of art that he is dealing in, the artificiality of art that does not have access, or at least prevents access to, truth.